Let me tell you the story of why I burnt down my successful booked out business, fired a team of 7 people, and then rebuilt it all again, and why it worked out beyond my wildest dreams. I was a booked out one-to-one coaching strategist working with some really lovely clients, making 10, 15K a month. So holy grail of online coaching, right? And things were not that great. So there are a few factors involved. One, I knew that with one-to-one strategy work, I had hit an income ceiling. I could not make more money without taking on more clients, which I didn't want to. I was really, really quite booked out, or raising my prices, which I was like, well, I already kind of raised my prices and they feel pretty high. So what do? I don't want to raise prices and I don't want to put in more hours. So I was trying to scale as you do with courses. I had this signature course, this framework that I still teach, Micro Launch Method, which is an amazing framework. And I thought I would scale it with launches. So I ended up actually having a team of 7 contractors, no systems in place, because I thought you just delegate and things will magically happen. So my Slack was just going crazy all day long, just all the messages constantly, just super overwhelming. And I was doing these launches, which were really up and down, super stressful. And to top it all off, I also have a chronic illness. And when I have a flare-up, and flare-ups often also come through stress. And when I have a flare-up, I have one, quite a lot of pain, and 2, a lot of brain fog, fatigue, exhaustion, and just not being able to think straight. Not great when you have a booked out schedule and you're doing launches. And I think for me, the light bulb moment really came when I wanted to meet up with a friend of mine, Molly, who was in Amsterdam, and we were going to have a coffee. And I was checked my schedule, and I was like, my first next availability to have coffee for 2 hours is in 3 weeks. And that was the moment. I just remembered so clear. I was like, what the is happening here? I've built myself into golden cage. It's great that I have a 6-figure business, but one, the team was expensive, and I live in the Netherlands, so taxes are high. So from the 10, 15K a month, there wasn't that much profit I was keeping. And it was so stressful. It was so stressful. So in the middle of this launch, I just went, this is my last live round of this course that I'm doing. Join it now or don't, up to you. And I decided to completely switch my business model. The other factor that I had was my client results. So at the time, I had my one-to-one clients, which I loved. That was great. But I found myself repeating concepts quite frequently. So I would teach a framework to one person, but then the next day I would teach the same framework to another person. I was like, this feels like a little bit of a waste of my time. It's great for the client, but this could have been a video for 10 people to watch instead of me repeating it 10 times. And I was getting a bit bored with that, constantly teaching and reteaching the same concept over and over again. I also was running a mastermind, which was great, but I felt they needed more structured information because it was very much hot seat coaching. And I also had this course that didn't have coaching, but had structured information. And I was like, oh, I think they really do need hot seat coaching, the custom game plans and here's what to do next for this person and for that person. It's going to be different. So I decided, this was really almost overnight, said, screw this. I'm no longer taking on one-to-one clients. So the 6-figure part of my model was gone. I do work now again with private clients, but very selectively. And I decided to combine everything I knew into one program, which is something I had always said I could never do. I could never do that because I'm a creative unicorn. I have all these ideas. I can't be tied down in one thing. Best thing I could have done for my mental health, my life, my business, my family, everything. So when I made that change, and yes, I was this in that process. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I made that change because I realized enough is enough and I have to go all in. It's just, I can't continue. Finished that launch of that course, stopped my mastermind, finished off with my one-to-one clients, and put everything into one main program. In the first month of launching it, I did $73,000 in sales. 3 months later, I did $124,000 in sales. And that was with no team, because after I fired the team, I kept my assistant, my virtual assistant, or OBM at the time. And really soon after this, she left as well, to focus on her family. So it wasn't my fault. But that was such a shock because I was just like, oh my gosh, like what can I do now when I have one person and now she's gone? What am I supposed to do? And instead of hiring immediately, because I was like, oh my gosh, I was gonna go panic hire someone. I said, I'm going to first focus on systems. So that was the mistake I had made earlier. I focused on building out systems, building out infrastructure, building out automations, and focused on my clients, on how can I provide the best experience for them, not just like to have a great client experience in that sense, but how can I best help them to get results to the best of my ability? What can I do the best of my ability to help them get results and have this all in such a smooth way? So I hit the 124K month by myself, no assistant, no team, nothing, and closed my first multi-six-figure year in business that way. So that was a few years ago. Currently, my business is at multi-six figures, which is awesome. I have one part-time team member who is my sister, Lucy. And we focus on simplicity because there's so much like you can do and there's so many things to add. But I think the biggest thing really is, what do you want your life to look like? And like, let's be real, like I believe in working hard. I believe in doing things and pushing yourself. And if you want to get a certain goal, you're going to have to do things that you haven't done yet. And you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable to get there. But at the same time, there are different pathways to get to your goal. And what's the easiest one? What's the simplest one? What's the most direct route to get there? So that's something I think is really good food for thought for people. And to follow the mess. Because I knew what I had built. I was like, this is not what I want. Like, it's working, making money. My clients are happy. But this is not what I want. I want to be able to have coffee with a friend when I feel like it. I want to be able to go hang out with my sister and walk around Amsterdam when I feel like it. I want to be able to hop on a plane and go to Croatia with my family or wherever. And I think that that's something a lot of people don't think about when they do these things. So I'm not saying, oh, everyone should go all in and burn down business models. But overall, and you'll see more of this here as well, think about, what does the one-to-one model look like? What does the one-to-many model look like for you? What does high ticket look like? What does low ticket look like? How do they all kind of feed each other and like live symbiotically and grow together? What does your marketing process look like? Your sales process? Like, how do you systematize these things? Make them simpler, make them easier so that you spend less time running the business and everything is easier. And sometimes it looks like burning things down. And honestly, the big thing really was that I joined a mastermind at that time. Like when I was in that decision, when I was doing that launch and I was like, burning out with that, I joined a mastermind that I felt I wasn't ready for. It was the biggest investment I had ever done in anything ever. I was shaking for 3 days afterwards. And the only reason I really did it was because my husband, Michael, was next to me at that time. He was jumping up and down, basically saying, you have to make this investment. You have to do this. Like this is going to grow and help you so much. And I did, because you also see, like, I knew where I was. I knew I didn't like it. I knew there was a different way. I did not know what that different way was. I did not know what that path was, because I had never been there. So I had to go after the people who had been there, who could tell me, hey, here's a path. Here's what to do. Go explore it. And that's the story of how I burnt down my business and fired the team and hit 100K a month a few months later. Can't really complain with that.